There you go.
Okay, so I just wanted to say hello. This is Denise Arminio from Inside Health Apps. I'm a motion code, body code certified practitioner, as well as a Genius biofeedback practitioner. And I've been using the Genius for about 2.5 years now, and I just absolutely love it. And it's changed my practice. And I hope you love it all as much as I do. And myself and Claire and Connie, we're all here to help you answer any questions and to hope that you enjoy it and are as passionate about it as we are. So with that said, we have Lorna, who has volunteered for today. And I will be working on clearing the meridians and the emotions associated with the meridians. So let's get on with that. I am just going to unmute you, Lorna. I have to find you here. And are you there?
Yes.
I don't see you yet. Hold on. Maybe if you just say something, you'll pop up to the top.
Hi.
Where are you? I don't see.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. I see. Oh, you don't have your video on. Can you turn your video on?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here I am.
Excellent. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So what would you like to work with today? What are some things that you are experiencing, either physical pain, emotional pain, that you would like to work with?
Well, I have problems with mobility because I have a chronic illness.
Okay. And is the mobility mostly in your legs, in your arms?
Yes, in my legs.
Okay. And so is it pain and stiffness, or what's?
Well, I was diagnosed with MS 21 years ago, and that's the main issue. There's not as much pain. Most of the time there's not as much pain, but there are days when there is a bit of pain.
Okay. So, and how are you feeling today in this moment on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being like your issues would be feeling severe?
Okay. I'd say 7.
A 7. Okay, great. And I ask you that just for yourself as a form to see if you can see any measurable change at the end of the session. Okay. So
perfect.
I'm going to train a little bit for those who may be using the 14-day trial, or maybe anybody who's interested in getting the 14-day trial or the Genius. So I will go a little bit slow in the beginning. If you have any questions, you can either tag them in the chat box, or Lorna, you can ask me directly.
Okay.
Lorna is your full name?
Lorna Gauthier. Gauthier.
Oh, I see it.
That's it.
And your date of birth?
May 29th.
Whoopsies.
1956.
Okay. All right. So I've entered your name and your birth date. I put your gender in there. And then I'm just going to hit next on the bottom of the screen. And then this is just for the practitioner's own use. I'm just going to put, I could put MS and mobility and legs. And I can just hit begin and it'll bring us to the next screen. And so here, this is where we use the voice engine to record, and the Genius uses complex algorithms to read your energy and to see where there's energetic disturbances. But before I do that, I just want to take a quick screenshot of you right here. And so now I'll give you a countdown. I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin. And when I say that, if you could just say your full name and then repeat the vowels, and you might have to repeat them more than one time until you finish the 15 seconds. You'll see a white line go across the screen. But when you say the vowels, give a little bit of time. Don't rush through them. Like you could say A, E, I. That way, the full vowel frequency can be recorded. So you all ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, begin.
Lorna Gautier, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O.
Okay, great.
I have to put my dog out, please.
Sure. Okay, so now I'm just going to hit on the bottom left of the screen. You could see voice harmonics. What that is after you leave the recording, when you hit on voice harmonics, it's allowing you to hear how the genius has translated your voice into a frequency. And it also helps start the entraining process with you. So I'm just going to start that. It is a little bit difficult to hear, especially over Zoom, because they're very low pitched sounds. So you might want to just turn up your volume, Lorna, for a few seconds while the voice harmonics is playing so that you could hear it.
Okay.
And I just started it. So you may want to lower your volume now. It was very low pitch, so I'm not really sure if you could hear it. It was even hard for me to hear it.
Yeah,
It was there. It was there.
Okay.
You know, your body is picking up on these waves and frequencies. So even though it may not be audible to your hearing, it's still getting to your body. So now I'm just going to hit next on the bottom right to bring us to the next screen. Oh, also another thing, this is just a little bit advanced, but I just wanted to point it out in case anybody is using it. On the top right of the screen, you will see import quanta profile. So if there is anybody who's thinking about working with clients and purchasing quanta capsules or having them so that their client can have a quanta capsule where you can send frequencies to them. Once they have the quanta capsule app and they're all set up, if you hit this import quanta profile, it will populate all their information, assuming that they've uploaded it on their end. So it's a great way to get all the information there quickly. It will bring up their audio and it will populate their picture in the next screen as well. So I'm just wanted to mention that. I'm just going to hit next now on the bottom. Okay, and now I can just hit continue. And now this brings us to the analyze image. So we already took the image of Lorna, so I'm just going to tap on this little image of the where it says photo here, and I'm going to hit existing photo, and I just clicked it, and there is Lorna, and her name popped up with it. That worked out well. Okay, so I'm just going to hit begin analysis here on the bottom. and continue. Okay, so first, Lorna, is there an affirmation that you like to use that we can add to this balance?
Sure. Love heals all.
Love that. Now, Lorna, are you a Genius owner?
Yes, I am.
And do you use it for just personal use, or do you have a practice?
I don't have a practice. It's personal and friends, family.
Okay, great. And how long have you been using it?
2 years.
Awesome. 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 Okay, so now, as you can see, for anybody who is just on the trial version that may be here, we see the biofield, body, and mind. I am going to go to the 3 lines at the top right corner. We call this the navigation bars, or we may refer to it as, say, go to your back office. I'm going to go here so that I can add my libraries. Now, this is a combination of libraries that I've either created or purchased or friends have sent to me. So I want to add those to client right now so that I could also work with Lorna with them. So at the top, I just hit select all. You can just look at a few libraries if you wanted to. I just tend to always hit select all. Okay, so now they should all be added. I just go to the back arrow up at the top, and now you could see libraries has been added. So now I'm just going to hit begin analysis down on the bottom. And before we get started, I'm going to quickly go down to the biofield and click on aura. This way we can see what your aura picture looks like. And I'm going to hit begin analysis. My apologies, guys. I'm suffering from a little bit of allergies, I think. Okay, so what I look for when I look at aura pictures, I don't really get into much detail on the different colors and like a profile based on the chakras. But what I do look for is that we're seeing bright, vibrant colors. So we're not really seeing bright, vibrant colors here. So hopefully that we can work on bringing in that vibrance. And that can really be from any chakra, any one of the colors of the chakras, but anything that's like gray or pale or muddy looking colors is just a good indication of stagnant energy. So it appears that's what we're looking at here. So now what's important to note with the Genius is what these numbers and colors represent. So the Genius works on a value system, numbers from 0 to 777. And the range from 0 to 100 is represented by the color blue. And items in that range is observed to be more chronic energetic disturbances or more stagnant energy. So you've had that disturbance for a longer period of time. And the next range is 101 to about 450, and that is represented by the color green. And then where green ends, yellow picks up at about 451 and goes to 688. And from 689 to 777 is represented by the color red. And red is observed to be more acute energetic disturbances. So disturbances that are happening now in the present. So a lot of times these could just be sort of like transient. You know, when we do the voice analysis and start the scan, it's like a blip that we're looking at. So it might be that you just absorb something from someone walking by, or you might have taken a train or been in an airport or anywhere where you're in close contact with people. And sometimes it's possible just to absorb that energy. So until that energy passes, it may show up in your scan. That's why the these biofeedback Genius scans are not diagnostic in the allopathic sense. So I would never take one of these scans and go into your regular doctor and say, you know, this is, you know, try to compare it to see what's wrong, because a lot of times these are just energetics that you're looking at. But it is a great way to keep your aura and your energy body healthy and healed, because anything that's going to come to your physical body has to go through your energy body first. So it's a great maintenance for you. And so the other thing is that when we do these scans, we usually work with the reds and the blues, and we can do that in 3 different ways. We can either add some of these items to the quick zap tray, and you do that by just dragging and dropping each line, or you can go to the plus, this little plus sign in the gray circle, either on quick zap or main hold. And when you hit that, that allows you to either bring in all the red or yellow, green, blue items. So it makes it a little bit easier and quicker to add what you want to those trays.
Okay.
A quick balance, which is on the bottom, is a really great way to do a quick scan, especially if you're in a rush, where it will automatically scan all the reds and the blues for you. And then the main hold tray is in my favorite area to do a scan. And the main reason for that is not only will it run the frequencies of each of those items, but the Genius is using algorithms that is looking at all the items in the tray in relationship to each other. And then it will tell you, based on that information, what are the highs, the mediums, and the lows. So you get a little bit different information, a little bit deeper information with that. And you'll see as I do the scan how I work through those. So the next thing I usually start with on a scan, I like to look at 2 different areas first, and those 2 different areas would be spiritual protection. And I'm going to look at that quickly. And I'm going to add all of these in, even though this, to looking at it, really looks really good. But I'm going to add all of them. And the purpose for that is a lot of times they're just, when you clear it, it reveals more information and more things that need to be cleared. So
Okay.
I'm just going to go to the progressive insights right now. I'm going to move the timer up at the top to 1 minute, and I'm going to hit begin analysis. So now you could see there are a few more items on here that showed up as high when the Genius looks at them all in relationship to each other. But I am still going to work with all of them. So I'm going to scan. And the reason that I'm doing that is, especially a lot of times when we're working with real chronic issues, I find that spiritual protection plays a huge role in it. Psychic attacks show up so often when there's physical pain involved. And they're just different kinds. I know sometimes the wording on some of these seems a little woo-woo, but it's all just different names for different kinds of negative energies. So the more we can clear these negative energies, the more we can bring light and higher vibrations into our physical body and our energy field. So let's just hit play on there. Okay, so we have a 20% rectification here. So when we look at rectification numbers, and we can see that there's harmony, alignment, and energy flow, the Genius works using all the algorithms that it does, and it comes up with a probability of how these items will have harmonized or balanced in your system.
Okay.
So we thought that it was a 20% rectification. So that's telling us that there's, probably some stagnant energy. There's stuff that's still a little stubborn, not wanting to move. I usually always like to look for 40% or higher when I'm clearing. This is a demo, so I'm just going to try to keep it moving a little bit, but I would probably, if this wasn't a demo, I would stick with this a little bit longer and clear that a little further. I am going to rescan it because sometimes it's really interesting to see. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
She can go over there.
So I'm looking at these 4 that are high and see how they move and shift.
In the front of your house, Reiki. Oh yeah, Meridian, then it can't be
So
touched.
sometimes the Zoom causes little glitches in here, which this should.
What?
Oh, there we go. So now we have one more. We've added grounding in here. I think entities showed up in here. So again, I would work with this a little bit, Lorna, on your own.
Okay.
I'm going to back out of that. And I'm also going to clear them for right now, because the other thing that I just want to work on is I want to work on minerals. And again, I'm going to add all of them in. Minerals are really, really important to make sure that we're having our body, all the electrical communication work. So
Okay.
again, I'm just going to hit begin analysis. And I'm going to hit all for 1 minute. Lithium is also a big one, even if it's down here as low, but I wouldn't be surprised if after I run this for a minute and rescan, that lithium finds itself to the top. It's one that really helps. I see it when trying to clear emotions, and emotions play such a huge role in any illness or dis-ease that we have. So
Okay.
you want to always put lithium in there and try to clear that. Zinc is another big one.
Energy. Well, it's interesting the way the woman
There's
said
a
that.
few people that have unmuted. I'm just going to mute you because I'm getting just a little background noise in here. Okay, so now we have 35%, so that's good. And let's hit rescan. And so what has showed up? Well, lithium did not show up yet, but again, I would always just run it. I'm going to go to back out. I'm going to leave those in the main hold tray because I'm going to continue working with them, but I just wanted to have them in there for now. The next area I always like to go to after I do those 2 things is system overview. And it brings me to general overview. I'm just going to hit, well, first I want to move the timer. If I can grab it up to the top. And I just clicked it again. So I know it's tiny, but it says 0 minutes up here. And I'm going to hit begin analysis.
I can't find that gentleman I can hear in the background to mute. I'm afraid.
I muted everybody, I thought. Anyway, so here we can see now of everything that was on the system overview page. If we were to expand everything, now we can see your top highs as it's organized everything chronologically in numerical order. It's pointing out your gallbladder.
Okay.
Now, don't forget, this is red, so this is present. A lot of times people see the red and they think that that's, you know, bad, but it's really just telling you that it's something that's it's present. It's acute, and it could also mean like heat or inflammation. So we see the gallbladder organ, and then we see a bunch of meridians, which is interesting since that's what we're working on today.
Mhm.
So we see the heart 0.9, the kidney 0.2, bladder 61, and so forth. If we hit general overview again, we're going to see the bottom view. So then we're going to see all the lower values. And we see acid in today's stress. So now the fact that it's blue, if it were red and acid showed up, it could very easily just be maybe you had a cup of coffee or maybe you had some food that was more acidic, but it is showing up as blue. So it's telling us that it's a more chronic thing. So, you know, you just may want to be mindful of the foods that you're eating and how acidic they are.
Okay.
And you know, just see if that changes. It might just be working with the genius will clear that, but sometimes we need to make a few physical changes as well. You could see herbs, and again, we're seeing a ton of meridians. So,
Mhm.
so let's get working. I'm just going to run a quick balance, so it's going to work with all the reds and all the blues. Okay, so we have 10% rectification here. So what that's telling us is that we have some stubborn
Mhm.
items in here. And again, this is, you know, it's just, it's really showing us what your aura picture was showing, right? I mean, your aura
Right.
picture, it showed stagnation. And this is what we're seeing right now by seeing that low rectification number. So
Okay.
I am going to run this again for about 30 more seconds for you to see if we can get that up a little bit. I would also suggest if you haven't had water to try hydrating. Oftentimes, I do find that once you drink some water, that it helps move these stagnant energy a little bit. And that rectification might change. I don't know if it really calculated it again. Sometimes with the Zoom, it doesn't always calculate it, but we're going to move on.
Okay.
We can look at today's stress briefly. It's showing infection, but again, that's just today. So it doesn't mean that you have an active infection. Sometimes we could have had an infection and cleared it physically, but the energetic imprint is still left behind, and that is why it shows up. So that's why this isn't diagnostic in the allopathic sense.
Okay.
Here's acid showing up on the bottom. So I am going to add the blue and the red in here. And I'm going to add the emotional since we're going to be working on that as well. And I'll add these 600 and above. The other thing I want to pay attention to and look at for you especially, because you mentioned that you do have MS, is the spinal energy here, because for you, we want all the nerves talking to each other. So now we could just look at L5 quickly, and L5 is L5, the body connection is the legs, the ankles, feet, toes, and arches. So Genius is right, spot on.
Wow.
Harmonize the spine for circulation in the legs, swollen ankles, cold feet, weak arches. And the emotional connection is communication issues, hard to accept pleasure and joy. I don't know if the emotional aspect resonates for you, but we will be looking at emotions in a little
Okay.
bit as well. L4 is muscles of the lower back, sciatic nerve, and feeling powerless. And we can move down, and the ones that are more chronic, L1 is large intestine, bowel issues, hiatal hernia, and the emotional would be insecurity. Thoracic 9 is adrenal glands, allergies, chronic fatigue, hypertension, hair loss, and it could be feeling a victim to life or life circumstances. So I am going to add all of them in, just given what you've told me. I want to just make sure that everything running through your brainstem and your spinal cord is getting the good connection that it needs.
Perfect.
We have minerals. I'm going to move down here now into the biofield, and I'm just going to add the spiritual protections back in. I'm not going to really talk about them because we already cleared this a little bit. I just want to make sure that they're in here and we don't forget about them. And I want to look at the Nogias for you. I always add Nogia G and Nogia A. And for those of you unaware of what the Nogias are, Dr. Nogier found that the organs and the glands have their own frequency, similar to like a fingerprint or their own signature. So if that frequency for the organ or gland is out of balance, so will that organ or gland be out of balance. G is the universal frequency. So we always want to have that in, and so is Nogier A, and Nogier L is off for you. And Nogier L is brain function, left-right brain communication. Could deal with concentration, memory, depression, and dyslexia. So we've added those in. I want to look at your chakras, and we can just add your we're just going to add the sacral chakra in there, and actually, whoops. And I want to add your root chakra. Where is it? Here it is. And we could look at sacred geometry here. I'm just going to add the reds and the blues again. And I will add Fibonacci, which I love adding that one. That's a personal favorite to me.
Okay.
And Saveggio tones, again, 528. Now 528 is showing that it's been off, but I would add this where whatever value it's at. And I'm going to also, excuse me, add 417, which is undoing situations and facilitating change.
Okay.
So now meridians, this was the focus for today. So, and we can see that you have a bunch that are red and the governing meridian is blue. And interestingly enough, if you watched these lives before, I'm big on always, no matter what value they're showing, the conception vessel and the governing vessel are really important. So
Okay.
I'm going to look at them separately for just a minute, and I'm just going to add, whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Why isn't this? Why is this glitching on me?
Tap the quick zap tray. The words.
Yeah, but I want this box to go away. It's not going away. All right, I'm just gonna grab it up there. Okay, and I'm gonna add everything from the conception vessel and put it in the quick zap. And now I'm going to add everything. I'm going to drag the governing meridian up, and then I'm also going to click on it so we get all the points. And I'm going to add all the reds, all the yellows, all the greens, and all the blues. And now I'm just going to put the timer, which is down here on the bottom. The timer that you see on the right-hand side, that's for the quick balance. So just don't get confused.
Okay.
And I'm going to put this on 1 minute. We can close that, and I'm just going to hit play. Okay, so you had 39% rectification, so that's really great.
Okay.
Now the other thing I'm going to do is, why I can't get this to clear, I don't know. I'm going to run a quick balance on the meridians, on just the titles of them
Okay.
for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to add those into the main whole tray as well. Okay. It didn't calculate that, so that I'm sorry, but I'm going to add these now into all the reds and the blues. And I'm also going to add those that are 600 and above.
Okay.
And you didn't have any that are 200 and below. I do want to go back and add the points, the red and blue points, though, for the governing and the conception vessels. Even though we ran them already, just to get some more. Okay, and then before we get into my libraries where we can look at some of the emotions that are connected with those meridians, I just want to add in, look at the emotions. And I'm going to add the red and the blue emotions. And we're also going to look at add the yellow ones as well, the ones that are 600 and above.
Okay.
And 200 and below. Okay, so now we already have a good amount in the main whole tray, but I do want to see what we come up with when we go into libraries. And now I'm just going to hit begin analysis because the main page doesn't look at the libraries.
Okay.
It looks at them separately. I have a lot of libraries. That's why it's taking a little bit of time here.
Okay.
Okay, so just gonna Meridian. So here we have a bunch of different meridians. Now, interestingly, I don't believe the bladder meridian showed up before. We
No.
can look. I don't think it did though.
No, it didn't.
So we're going to look at it in here, and we can also, so like the bladder meridian deals here, some of the meridian, I mean the emotions that the bladder meridian will look at.
Okay.
And let's look at the gallbladder, and your gallbladder organ did show up. So we can add these reds as well as the blue. And I'm going to add the ones that are below 200.
Okay.
I am going to look at governing meridian. Oh, and central meridian I passed by because those are two important ones. So we're going to look at all these associated with the central meridian as well as the governing meridian. And I'm going to add them even though they're not showing red or blue. Again, I would work with your gut when you're working with this. And I'm just feeling that I needed to add all of them in. So there's no, it's
Okay.
just my gut that's just telling me to do that. And I want to see what else is. So I'm just taking a quick look here. I do want to add some of the ones here that are blue, because to me, that's something, those emotions have been around for a longer period of time.
Hmm.
And we could look at a triple warmer. And the small intestine. And then I'm just going to see what I might have, if I have any MS libraries. I'm not sure if I do. So this is just the muscular system. So these are just some affirmations. So I'm going to add these.
Okay.
And the blue ones. And whoops. I'm just trying to, and I'm going to.
You got MS there.
Did you see something?
Yeah. If you can go back, I saw MS.
Why aren't I seeing it? Sometimes I don't know why
It was in another section.
well, it's all really the same section. I just don't know.
No.
Maybe capital M. Was it? Shoot. I thought I had one, which is,
Yeah, it was under muscular sclerosis.
multiple.
Funny.
Is it
Let
under
me
S?
let me just
MUL?
see. Hold up, whoopsies. I don't know why I'm not seeing it.
What about multiple? MUL?
Ah, yep,
There
okay.
it is. There it is.
Okay, so we can look at the assessment. And again, I'm going to put all of these in. I know because you just never know how, when in relation to everything else,
Okay.
how if any of those greens or yellows might show up as highs. Okay, was there anything else in here? And okay, I'm just going to go back to, I'm kind of looking for something that would be blue. What do I need? Oh, I know what I want. Sorry. I want the ones for stability. So these are just like crystals that I'm adding that could help.
Okay.
So we're already at 255. I am going to start working on the main hold tray. We're getting close to the top of the hour and I want to run these. So I'm going to begin analysis and then I will run all of them 1 minute. And I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, it's my son's school.
Okay.
So I'm going to run all of them for 1 minute. And it's interesting that emotional is showing up, worry at the top. Do you work with emotions a lot when you're for
Yes, I
yourself?
do. Yes, I do.
How are you feeling if you wanted to move around? I mean, I know we just really started this main room, but
You want me to move around?
after I do after I run the to all of them,
Okay.
before I run the 3 minute, yeah, if you don't mind. Sometimes another thing that's good, I mean, obviously depending on what your physical condition is at the time, but you know, besides drinking water and staying hydrated, having movement, going out in nature, going for a walk helps move that energy through your body.
Okay.
You have an 18% rectification again, so this is showing us again that there's some stuck. That's not a
Yeah.
surprise really for us. So I'm just rescanning it to see, because now maybe some of the ones that were a little bit more difficult are rising to the surface, and I'm going to hit all again.
Okay.
I'll just and hit play. all hear me okay? I'm just, my voice is lacking a little punch today. Work with some, the Bach flower essences or
Yes.
even herbs. Solutions are great, essential oils to help kind of try to break up that stagnant energy.
Okay.
So we're up to 51%. So that's great,
That's
right?
good.
That's really good. So let's hit rescan. If maybe you want to just like move slightly or stand up just to see how you're feeling.
Okay.
If you're feeling any shifts. And I'm going to, B5 is showing up and some emotions up here. So I'm just going to run the highs now for 3 minutes. How are you feeling? Any shifts or any?
No, not really. Well, some tightness in my right shoulder.
Okay, so it's moving a little bit where you're having it now.
Yeah, my right arm and my right shoulder.
So I would really, focus more too on meridians. You did see that there were a lot that were off. We'll see, how they, how it's doing, but I would spend a little bit of time and focusing on that. You want to make sure that all that energy is moving through your body the way it should.
Okay.
So Ruth is asking, how do I know when to put it in the quick zap tray or the main tray on the bottom? And so if I want to look at something quickly, maybe I want to look at a whole panel, but I don't want to put everything in that whole panel in the main hold tray. I may look at it separately there for a minute, or if I want to just give a specific area like the meridians a quick boost on their own, just to have those frequencies introduced to the body, I might choose to do the quick zap then. Or similarly, at the end of a balance, if I have a lot of items in the main hold tray, but I want to use some essences or something just to help move that energy, we'll go back and we'll look at what her aura looks like in a minute. But if the aura just looked like there was still a lot of stagnant energy, I might either do a quick balance on, let's say, some flower essences or on excuse me, on some gems, without having to run everything in the main hold tray again. Karen is asking, what settings are you using and why the frequency wave? Sonic versus harmonics. I usually just go with the default ones. You can go look and see what settings you're at by going to your back office, but I tend to leave it on default settings unless I'm looking for something. If I'm running rife frequencies, I may look at square waves more. But other than that, Karen, I tend to leave it on the default settings and use the harmonics. We had 41% rectification, which is great. So now let's just go back to the aura and see how you're doing there. So that's looking much better.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of gray area up here, but overall that is a huge difference in what we were seeing before. So I don't know if you wanted to get up and see if you've noticed any shifts, but I would still keep working on those meridians. I do find that a lot of times working with the meridians really helps
Yeah.
move some
I-
stagnant.
I'm a bit better on the right side. That's my main issue is on my right side, but I feel like it's blocked in my right arm and shoulder blade.
Well, that could be from the meridians, because as you know, when we work with the meridians, they're all over. It could be as, you know, it's like balancing a scale out. As they're balancing out, you might start
Okay.
feeling it, you know, just it just as it's shifting, as it's balanced out. So I would continue to run them. You may want to run all of them. You might want to just run one meridian at a time and
Okay.
work through it. You can go, a lot of you, if you don't have any real base or knowledge on the meridians, when you look through them, the Geniuses program is really great because it shows you where it is. Now, the conception vessel and the governing vessel are the conception runs the front of your body and the governing your back.
Okay.
So those are the two main ones. So always, always, always work with those. But then you can see let's just look at the kidney meridian. And on these pictures, you can see this line shows you exactly what it's running through. So again, you know, the kidney meridian is going to go through your legs. And and it's on both sides. So, you know, maybe it's moving a little bit better, the energy on one side of your body than the other side of your body.
Right.
The stomach, again, is also going to go through your leg. So we're seeing here, this is kind of a lot of what you were talking about.
Okay.
Your spleen, again, your leg. So where you know, what you described is showing up here.
Okay.
Your gallbladder, your organ was also showing in today's stress, I believe. But you can see again, that's in your legs. Then it circles back a little bit in the back on your lower spine, and it kind of goes up your side section, and you have a little bit on your head.
Okay.
Your lung meridian is on your arm, so maybe you want to look at the lung meridian. There's a lot of grief that's held in your lungs.
Okay.
Some of the, you know, like, so for your arms, I can just, you know, there's different motions that get stored in your physical organ as well as the meridian. So some of the emotions that are associated with the lung are crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, sorrow, confusion, defensiveness, grief, self-abuse, stubbornness. So that's just an example, but you know, go with this and work with this. I do think if you spend some time on the meridians and your emotions, it will help.
Okay.
And spiritual protection, very
Okay.
important.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
So if you can quickly just rate, I think you said you were at a 7 before we started. Where would you put yourself at now?
I don't really see a big difference.
Okay. You just feel it shifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's still a change. It's not, is the pain the same in your arm?
It's a little less,
Okay.
but it wasn't there at first. So I think it moved to that area.
Okay. Well, just work with it some more and just keep that.
Okay.
We saw from the aura that the energy is starting to move. So that's a good sign.
Okay. Very
Okay.
good.
And if you have any
Yeah.
other questions, you can certainly email me at Denise@Inside Health Apps, and I'm happy to give any guidance if I can.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Lorna, for volunteering and being here with us, and Claire and Connie for helping with these questions on the side. And I think Ruth, is there a beginning class that is offered? We're going to be giving, what are you looking to learn in the beginning class, Ruth? You can always shoot me an email too at Denise@Inside Health Apps. And we can look at that. Maybe anybody else who has any specific areas that they would like a little bit more training on, let us know. And we'll try to look at, where the group is at a whole, and, kind of the consent. We'll start with, where everybody, the commonality is on where people need some help, but we're always looking for some feedback there. So happy to hear your comments and your thoughts. Anyway, gotta go. Went a little bit over. It was a pleasure working with everybody today, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Recording off.
Yeah, here it is up here.